Welcome to the Smart Weight Loss Coaching Podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa Olson, a board-certified weight loss medicine specialist and certified life coach. In this podcast, I'll share fresh insights and effective techniques for incorporating mindset, habit change, and proven science into your life. Are you ready to achieve sustainable weight loss, wellness, and longevity? Then let's jump in and lose weight the smart way. Welcome back. Today, I was having a tough time deciding on just one thing to talk about for the podcast because I feel like so many meaningful things came up in my practice and in my group coaching program. So I'm just going to talk about a few of the different things, starting with the fact that I heard this week someone in my field say we might as well just make peace with the fact that medication is better than diet and exercise. I'm just going to let that sit with you for a moment so you can see how that makes you feel. It brought up a lot of big emotions for people in my field. Like, what? We all know eating healthy and moving our bodies is the best. Sometimes, yes, we do need to use medication as an adjunct to that, but I wouldn't say meds are better. But here's the argument. Hear me out. The fact is that actually medication is far more effective for weight loss than diet and exercise are. And even if you consider what I call the 4 pillars, nutrition, movement, stress management, and sleep, those are 4 really critical things for weight loss and also for good health. Even if we're working hard on all of those things, we still know that people are unlikely to lose even a fraction of the weight with that they could lose with our most effective weight loss medications today. So I'm talking mainly about Zepbound and Mounjaro, which are called tirzepatide, and then Wegovy and Ozempic, which are called semaglutide. So tirzepatide and semaglutide are the generic terms that we use for those. Of course, they're not available in generic yet, but those medications, particularly tirzepatide, which is Zepbound for weight loss, Mounjaro for diabetes, that is such an effective medication. So let me ask you this. One of my clients was saying that she wanted her husband to go on Zepbound to help him with his weight. His BMI is around 40, and he really needs some help. He has not had success losing weight on his own. And she said, but I only want to give him a little while to be on this medicine because if he's not making the changes in his diet and exercise, then what's the point? That's what got me reflecting on all of this. Actually, I think that is a form of weight bias. And a lot of us do this to ourselves too. We have self-stigma around using medication for weight loss. We stigmatize ourselves or other people when they use medication. But if I told you that the most effective intensive lifestyle modification program ever studied, the study for this one lasted almost 10 years, the people in that program lost somewhere between 5 and 6% that they kept off through the duration of the program. Okay, if I told you that's what very successful intensive lifestyle modification looks like, 5 to 6% weight loss, and then I told you with tirzepatide, 15 milligrams, the highest dose, you might be able to get 20% weight loss. Why judge that, right? The tirzepatide, the medication, is so much more effective than just the lifestyle modification. We know that most people who go on a diet ultimately end up gaining weight. Diets are very ineffective. They can work for the short term, but for long-term weight loss and maintenance of weight loss, diets are very ineffective. And in fact, they cause a lot of stress. So people who are on a diet tend to feel more stressed. They have higher levels of cortisol. Their insulin tends to be up, and that tends to ultimately lead to weight gain, certainly not weight loss. So I really purposefully avoid people approaching weight loss from the perspective of going on a diet, I think everyone here has heard that, right? This isn't our first rodeo. But even if you choose your words carefully and you don't think of going on a diet, but you're just really trying to craft a healthier lifestyle, to curate a healthy nutrition plan, and to become more active and get more sleep and manage your stress and increase your social connections, all things that we know help with longer health spans, living longer, healthier, and can be helpful with weight, still, we are only seeing 5 to 6% weight loss and maintained over 10 years in our study of the best intervention we have. Now compare that to the strongest medication we have, tirzepatide, where people can lose 15 to 20%. Now, it is true that when people go on weight loss medications, they will lose more weight when they combine medication with nutrition, with movement or exercise, and other healthy habits like getting enough sleep. Okay, doing all of those things works better than just medication alone. But honestly, the amount of improvement, the amount of extra weight loss you get by layering on those lifestyle interventions isn't a lot. I mean, I would argue all of those things are really critical to increase our health span, to live healthier longer, and we should be doing all of those things. Having sleep regularity, getting enough sleep, working on our stress, getting out and moving our bodies, reducing sitting time, all of this matters, right? Eating in a plant-forward, real food way, avoiding ultra-processed foods. All of these things are great. But if it was easy to do those things and really stick with it and lose weight via that approach, well, everyone would be skinny, right? But it isn't. So that's what I want to say about weight loss. And also, let me just help you visualize what I'm talking about when I say lifestyle interventions can lead to a 5% weight loss. If you are a 200-pound woman and you want to know what the most successful research program tells us your weight loss can be with lifestyle modification alone, that would be 10 pounds. Okay, a 200-pound woman who loses 10 pounds and keeps it off for 10 years, that is what we consider success with a lifestyle modification program. And listen, I know because I go on social media too, you see all sorts of wonderful glowing stories of people losing 100 pounds and keeping it off, and they just double down and have more grit. Okay, that's very nice. There are occasionally unicorns who do that, and I have seen some of those unicorns in my program. I know that people in my program do better than just this 5% weight loss, but I think it's really unrealistic to expect that you're going to lose 50 pounds, 75 pounds, 100 pounds just with lifestyle modification alone. I'm not trying to disappoint anyone, but the other thing that really got me thinking about this is I was talking with a client who was super frustrated with her progress. So she started at about 210 pounds and she's bouncing between, I'd say 150 to 160. Okay, so let's just say she's lost somewhere between 50 and 60 pounds, depending on the week, depending on the month, whether she's a little on her heavier side or a little on her lower side. And she actually did this without any weight loss medication. So this is an amazing success story. But all she can think about is why can't she lose the next 10 pounds? Why is she so stuck? And she keeps saying to herself, like, this isn't working. It's just not working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm trying so hard. I'm doing all the things. And what she's not really honoring is, first of all, when we lose weight, our body has a lot of levers that it pulls to return us to our baseline weight, our higher weight that we held for at least 2 or 3 years. So if her baseline weight was 210, you better believe that she is so much hungrier at 155 pounds than someone else who has been 155 pounds all along. It is so much harder for her to be satisfied after eating at 155 pounds than someone who's been 155 pounds all along, right? Your biology is fighting the weight loss and trying to return you to what our brains think is our natural set point. So that is one important thing to know, is that even in maintenance, your body is fighting you really hard to drive your weight back up. And that's why sometimes, even in people who never used weight loss medication to lose their weight, we will add it in for maintenance. And that's not only meds like Wegovy and Zepbound. Some of our older medications can be used for weight loss maintenance also. So I see that a lot. I had someone come to work with me who lost 100 pounds on her own, over 100 pounds. I mean, it's just amazing. All lifestyle modification. This is one of those unicorns I'm talking about. So don't expect yourself to lose 100 pounds. This is very rare. But she came to me for some help because she was basically living on nuts, seeds, and berries and counting those out because it was so hard to maintain. And that's not because she didn't know what she was doing. She had a really good handle on nutrition. She was exercising. She was doing all of the right things that got her to lose the weight, but maintenance is tough. And so sometimes we use medication there. And that's okay. No judgment. Please, I'm really asking all of you to stop judging yourselves if you're taking medicine or considering taking medicine. And just recognize what I was saying in the beginning, which is that we might think nutrition and movement, diet and exercise is somehow morally superior, which I don't think it is. I disagree with that. But it is not nearly as effective as medication. And of course, the most effective is medication plus nutrition plus movement plus stress management plus sleep management plus social connections and all of those things. Probably some laughter and sunshine, maybe some warmth. As I'm recording this, it's about 10 degrees in Chicago. So I feel like a little warmth would be good too for health and happiness and motivation for weight loss. All right. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about today. The other thing is just recognizing how slow weight loss can be. I'm talking to all of you people who have some sort of very aggressive New Year's goals in mind. I'm going to eat perfectly. I'm going to be vegan. I'm going to never eat an ultra processed food again. I'm cutting out all sugar. I don't drink any alcohol anymore. And I'm training for a marathon. Okay. If that's you, I'm probably not your podcaster. I mean, that's amazing. And if you do it, that would be great. But I think for most of us, we want to have some tiny habits that we create and we build upon. We want to identify things that we think are going to be easier and do the easy things first. For example, it is not easy for me to get outdoors to exercise in the winter in Chicago. That is not easy for me. I don't like to be cold. So I have a lot of good gear that makes it possible for me to walk this time of year. But if I want to have a daily exercise goal, I need to have some flexibility around things I can do indoors this time of year. And if you want to create an exercise habit, start slow. Challenge yourself to exercise for 5 minutes a day. I'm serious. When you do something every single day, you're more likely to lean into that habit. That habit becomes easier to create, much easier to do something every single day than twice a week. So I encourage you, do something every single day, whatever the habit is you're trying to create, but allow it to be a teeny, teeny, tiny portion of that thing. So if you want to exercise for 5 minutes. If you want to learn how to shuffle dance, do that for 5 minutes a day. If you want to learn how to speak French, practice that for 5 minutes a day. Whatever it is for you. To create a new habit, start small and repeat it frequently. And then also, please, of course, hold grace for yourself not to be perfect. I mean, sometimes we make mistakes. My mom, who is the queen of New Year's resolutions and always makes the most interesting resolutions and sticks to them, she had a really interesting year in 2024. Her New Year's resolution, well, I think some of you know she's a runner and she's amazing. She's almost 80. She's still a really good runner. It's fantastic. Her goal was to run 1 mile every single day for all of 2024. And you should know it's not hard for her to run a mile. That's really easy. I mean, she can run 10 miles. She could probably do more push-ups than you can do. She can certainly do more push-ups than I can do. I mean, she's really an athlete. So running a mile every day is not hard for her physically, but it's the mental game, right? That you're going to do it every day. So I want to give you some examples of like crazy things that came up for her this year. One is when you think about trying to run a mile on a day you're traveling or you're traveling internationally, imagine what that's like. So they went to Italy to take a cruise and they flew over, it's like an hour drive to the airport and you have to be there 2 hours early. And then, there's some downtime and then they fly to Europe and then they have to go get on their cruise ship. She dropped her things on the cruise ship, hopped off the cruise ship because they had a little time before they were departing, and she ran a mile. And because it was unfamiliar terrain, she tripped, she fell, she was bleeding all over. I'm not saying that's necessarily the easiest thing to do, but hey, she still finished her mile. She wiped off her face and kept going. Another amazing travel story for her is my mom and her husband drove to Florida and back, and they do that drive sometimes in one day. It's really long. I'm not sure. It's like 17 or 18 hours. So they drove from Chicago to Orlando in one day. And lest she not serve up her 1 mile run to check it off her list for her New Year's resolution, they found a rest stop where she could hop out. And there was a big, long area with grass, and she just ran back and forth. And because she's a very experienced runner, she's been running for decades, she knows exactly how long it takes her to run a mile and what that pace feels like. So she just runs she'll run for 10 minutes at her 10-minute mile pace, and then she's done. She did her mile. So she did it at a rest stop on the way there. On the way back, they just pulled over. It was starting to get dark and she hadn't done her mile, and they just pulled over in some random neighborhood and parked the car, and she ran 5 minutes that way at her 10-minute mile pace and came back 5 minutes the other way. I mean, that's really amazing dedication. I have a bunch of crazy stories about her runs from this year. I think you might have heard in one of my previous podcasts, I talked about when she was in the Smoky Mountains and went out running in the early morning in the dark and the cold, and she met a black bear. That was crazy. So one of my friends said she didn't believe that. And so I forwarded her the picture of the bear that my mom encountered. So if anyone wants to see that, you can reach out to us and get on our mailing list, and I'll share the picture of the bear. You could do that by reaching out to Dina@smartweightlosscoaching.com. That's my wonderful assistant. She'll put you on our list, and just let her know you want to see the bear picture for proof. But anyway, what I really want to say about this New Year's habit is the flexibility that my mom had around it. So the very first week she had this run 1 mile a day goal, she forgot on Sunday because she doesn't usually work out on Sundays. And then the next Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday, and she forgot then too. So in the whole entire year, 365 days, she only missed 5 days of running 1 mile. I mean, some days she runs lots more than a mile, but she always ran 1 mile for 360 days. But 2 or 3 of those she missed because she simply forgot, which is so funny. And then one she missed because she had a fever and she was totally bedbound. I forgot what the 5th one was. Maybe there were only 4 days she didn't run. But I'd like to let you know what she made that mean. She did not make that mean, I blew it, I failed, I might as well quit now, I'm the worst, I never keep my New Year's resolutions. No, she doesn't make it mean any of those things. She just told herself, oh well, no sweat, reset, and she ran the next day. And at the end of the year, I asked her, so would you consider this year a success, even though you missed 4 or 5 days of running? And she was like, oh yeah, I feel great about it. So I'm just going to invite you, as you think about your NBA, your next best action for today and the new year. First of all, do you want to be realistic with yourself about the pace of weight loss, what it takes to lose a lot of weight loss? Maybe you want to talk to your doctor about getting on medication to support your weight loss goals. and augment that with an intensive lifestyle modification program so you can lose a little more than just using meds alone? Are you setting a New Year's resolution? Which, by the way, you don't have to. I mean, I think they're really fun. And obviously, my mom thinks they're really fun. But just because we like them doesn't mean you have to have a New Year's resolution. But whether you're just looking to make a tiny change, your next best action for today, or a year-long resolution, I invite you to decide in advance what you're going to make it mean if you get a little off track, how you're going to do no sweat, reset, and get back to it the next day. How you're going to pick something that's small enough that you believe you can stick with it regularly and have it be something that you do every day or at least most days. And how you're going to celebrate your victories 360 days of meeting your goal rather than focusing on the days I'm putting this in air quotes, you blew it. Come on, Smarties. I think this is the best way to approach any kind of goal. And then, of course, be patient with yourself. We all fall off sometimes. I mean, I for sure do. Even my mom, who's so committed, sometimes forgets to go for her 1 mile run. So that's human nature. Don't be mean to yourself, please. That's also a good NBA. I'm going to be nice to myself this year. All right. Have a wonderful, happy New Year. I love you. Thank you for listening. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like more support during your smart weight loss journey, check out our group coaching program at smartweightlosscoaching.com. Until next time, stay well and stay smart.